Yeah, so this, can you guys see the September, December 2025 examiner's report? You don't have in front of your screens. Can you guys see it? Just confirm in the chat box if it's visible. Okay, so if we move on to, if you scroll down, so we're not gonna see everything. So, in order to pass the exam, candidates should ensure they devote adequate time to obtain the required level of knowledge and application. Candidates who do not spend time practicing questions are unlikely to be successful, as written questions in particular aim to test candidates' application skills, means your drafting skills. How well, that's, I just showed you 89% scenario based, 91% scenario based. That's what you call, that's how they'll test your application skills, right? Now, we are not going to look everything individually, but I'll look at audit reporting stuff. So, internal control. Yeah, so let's have a look at substantive procedures. So, one of the substantive procedures that your examiner tested was describe the substantive procedures to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence in relation to Quirky's payroll expense. Now, when describing substantive procedures, one of the key things to remember is the level of detail provided. Many candidates fail to provide this type of procedure requirement because their procedures are vague. One of the reasons why students fail is because they are drafting vague responses, okay, that do not make any sense, that are not tailored to the scenario, that are not relevant to the scenario, and they are expecting to be rewarded for this. So that doesn't happen. You can't really succeed by writing vague answers. Tests must be sufficiently detailed, noticing clearly which source should be used. That means your answer should be detailed and relevant enough. Okay. For example, in this session, many candidates include agree to bank ledger and bank statements without specifying that this was being done to agree the net paying. So what's the objective? They're just telling that we'll agree the bank ledger and the statement. But why are you gonna do that? Is there any objective? Is there anything going on in your head? So you need to tell the examiner that this is exactly the reason why I'm doing this, and this is exactly what this procedure will achieve. Okay. Candidates must ensure they can distinguish between a substantive procedure and a test of control. That's also one of the issues that confusions, one of the reasons why students fail, because they are asked substantive procedures, they are responding test of controls. They pass like 3 months without clarifying this confusion. There are two different things, both of them are procedures, but they are two different types of procedures, right? Many candidates lose marks in this type of requirement by mixing procedures. Okay. Now, vague responses, untailored responses, generic answers, a very common requirement, very common reasons why students struggle in substantive procedures. And if you struggle in substantive, your chances of passing the exams will become very, 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 very low. Okay. What else do we have here? Corporate governance. So this was examined in December 2025. Okay. For corporate governance, candidates are generally asked to explain a specified number of deficiencies from a given scenario. So candidates are awarded half a mark for identifying the deficiency and half a mark for explaining the uh, implication. To to be awarded, candidates are required to identify the deficiency. So you need to read the scenario. Reading should be good enough, and you should be good enough in your understanding should be good enough so that you can pick up a deficiency. It was pleasing to see that many candidates were able to confidently undertake this. Okay, that's good. Where do we have? So where are the problems? So is there a problem here? The next step is to, having identified the deficiency, that's just not enough. The next step is to explain the implication. Too often, candidates fail to explain and miss out on the half mark available. The explanation needs to be clear how this results in a corporate governance. So you need to explain how and why it is a problem. For example, just stating that this is poor governance would not be awarded. Yeah. So you need to explain it well. Okay. Then what else do we have here? That's a knowledge-based question. State the purpose of documenting audit work. See, it's just for 3 marks. This is a relatively straightforward knowledge requirement which has been tested before. So you see that. You see, I told you that knowledge-based questions are repetitive. And there the examiner is saying himself, he's so honest. He's saying all you need to do was to attempt sufficient past exams, and you would have known that this question was previously examined in one of the attempts. Okay. What else do we have here? So we have got audit risk question. Candidates often use, so the first step to identify the factors which give rise to an audit risk. This information, so you need to, while undertaking the audit risk read, it is a good exam technique to use the highlight function. So in your ACCA examining software, so like I'm highlighting here, so you'll have a highlighter. So it's good enough that while you're reading, you should be highlighting your strongest 7 or 8 points. So normally these audit risk question will ask you identify and explain 7 or 8 audit risk and the audit responses that you would perform to respond to those audit risk. Okay. Candidates often use copy and paste functions while identification of the risk. However, care should be taken to ensure the risk is actually identified. Simply stating a fact from the scenario is not always same as identifying risk. Okay, normally they think that we have just copied and pasted without giving a context of what we are writing. That's not how it works. If you will simply copy and paste, you won't be rewarded. You won't be credited. You need to copy and paste, but with a bit of context in the sentence so that the examiner knows that you're trying to identify. You are showing the examiner that I've identified the risk, and then you will be rewarded half a mark for that. And then you carry on explaining that risk in the second paragraph. The first paragraph you are identifying the risk. In the second paragraph you are explaining why you feel it is a risk. Okay. um so here it is. And one most important reason why students struggle in audit and assurance exam is that they have very limited, restricted financial accounting knowledge that comes from your F3 and F7 exams. So that's why we always recommend that you should not be attempting AA until and unless you have passed or you are studying your F7. Because if you struggle with financial accounting standards, you will struggle in this exam, because this exam, and specifically your audit risk, your audit reporting, and your substantive procedures, these three syllabus areas will heavily test your financial reporting and accounting knowledge. Financial accounting knowledge is also important as audit risk will focus on accounting treatments used in financial statements. Candidates should expect a range of topic areas within an audit risk scenario. Some of may be more challenging than others. So it is always recommended to pick up your strongest and easiest points. There will be points you will struggle during the exam because there will be something challenging, there may be something unexpected, there may be a tough a tough ball to face, a tough one to deal with. But that doesn't mean that you'll surrender, you'll leave the battlefield. That's not how it works. You will strategize, you'll perform smart planning. Okay. And smart planning is selecting the easier answer. So when you select and draft your easier and stronger points first, that firstly creates a good impression on the examiner, and secondly puts you in a very confident spot, and your chances of passing become higher. Okay. So right, these were some of the few bits that I tried to extract from your examiner report. Obviously, we can't do the whole of it. I would highly suggest to have a look at this after the live session. So if we have time, so let me check if we can see ACCA, just give me a. So can you guys see where it says Vertex Learning Solutions on your screen? Is it visible to all of you? The VLS website. This website visible to all of you? If not, let me know, then I'll share it. Okay. So as you can see, ACCA courses, then you click on ACCA courses, you get to know yeah. So do we have Audit AA over here? There it is. ACCA AA F8. See course details. Click on it, and then you can see that under every chapter, see chapter number 2. So you've got the lectures, and under every chapter, you've got complete study notes, and you've got a quiz as well. So those are complete study notes that I was talking about while we were doing the PowerPoint slide. And like this here, under every chapter, you've got complete study notes. So these are the extra information notes that I was talking about. The exam technique notes, the knowledge and application notes, extra information notes. You've got examiner expectation, what the examiner expects from you. You've got exam management and success drills, how to manage time, pressure, and stress. So this document tells you about, and later, just a week before the exam or 10 days before the exam, I'll go through all of these once again. You've got the exam technique notes, what exam techniques that you need in order to pass the exam, and that's drilled syllabus area wise. Accounting standards commonly examined in AA, because we know that students struggle with accounting standards, and accounting standards, your financial accounting standards are heavily examined. So we have compiled some of the common accounting standards. Then you've got list of knowledge based questions. I told you that many because it was difficult for us to cover what to predict what will be tested, so we have compiled a list of knowledge-based questions in the last 15 years, and we have it over here. Then you have got examiner reports. The one that we just discussed is over here, right here. Now, past exams. So we have compiled past exams over here as well. And this is where your syllabus, we'll create another section, and your recordings of your live sessions will go over there. So we'll name it like recordings of live session for June 2026. We'll create a new section, and your recordings of your every weekly live sessions will go over there. And I would highly recommend, after the live session, please review this detail. Once you get the access, view this lesson, employability and technology skills. In this lecture, I'll walk you through how to use the ACCS examining software. Okay, so that will tell you what the examination software features are and how to use it. Okay. And yeah, and with this, we will wind up the session for today, and I'll be hoping to see you all in the upcoming live session.